Hello! Oh, sorry, something in my teeth. Okay, I'm really happy to be here with you guys. We're making chocolate peanut butter cups right now. I'm a little late. My apologies because kind of had a mom fail today, and I forgot that on Fridays that my little guy gets out early at 1 o'clock, so I could not actually be going live right at 1 o'clock because I was picking up my son, which I honestly, you know, I told you guys I'm doing this in honor of my husband, which is really true because he is the bomb, and he's the one who called me at like 5 to 1, was like, did you pick up the baby yet? And I was like, oh yeah. It's Friday and he gets out at 1 today. So anyways, say hi guys, tell me who you are and where you're joining from. I see Kayla's on. Hey Kayla. But I can't tell who else. I don't know why. Sometimes it tells me, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm really excited to be here. You guys get to see my fun green shirt. Maybe it's not fun for you, but it's fun for me. Okay. Now, I wanted you guys to know how you can totally, hey Jennifer, do this even if you botch things up all the time. Because I botched this up today already and we didn't even start yet. But it's still going to be awesome. So I'll tell you what I botched up so far. Number one, I forgot that I ran out of the mini cupcake tins. I only have the big ones. See, they're big. So it doesn't matter. My family's just going to be really happy because we're going to have huge peanut butter cups this time instead of like the smaller ones. So if you did that too, or you plan on doing that, you're good. You're good. It still works. Number two, I also just came to the awareness that my children made a tower with like the liners recently. And then we all thought that was gross and threw them away instead of like keeping them. Hey, Scott. Scott works with my husband. So we have no liners. Now, if I was doing this in a tin, then that might be more of an issue. But I actually have these plastic ones. Can you see that it's like plastic? I can squeeze it. See? Easy squeezy. And so once they get hardened, I'm just going to like squeeze it to get them out. So anyways, the point is that like messing it up is totally fine. And you just keep going and it'll work out fine. And pretty much all my recipes are like that. Like if you botch it up, it's okay. Okay, so let's just dive in. So exciting. If you guys have any questions, definitely just comment and let me know. So number one, the measurements that I gave you for those who got the email, you have them already. And when I'm done with this, I'll also post it at the top of the video. And I'll also tell you now, like the trick to remember is we're doing like 1 cup of coconut oil. Here's my coconut oil. Half a cup of raw cacao powder and 1/4 cup of maple syrup. You can use other brands, that's fine. People always ask me, can I use cocoa instead of raw cacao powder? Yes, you can, and the flavor will still be really good, but it will definitely impact the nutrition benefits because the raw cacao powder, the reason why I use it, it's really high in iron, it's really high in magnesium, it has a bunch of other stuff going on too. Really good stuff going on too, versus regular cocoa, which basically they start out the same, essentially, and the raw cacao is before they roast it and ferment it and turn it into, when they roast it and ferment it, now they call it cocoa. But what happens in that process is that it loses like 90 to 95% of its nutritional value. So they're very similar tastes, but their nutrition lineup, shall we say, is very different. And so that's why I always go for this one. Even though it's a little more expensive, it's worth it to me. Okay, now, you can use a big fancy bowl. I'm using a small little bowl. I mean, it's not so small. It's like medium, right? Now, again, the measurements do not have to be exact. And what I'd actually recommend, you know what? I'm actually going to use a bigger bowl. Hold on. Because I don't want to splash on myself, which does happen sometimes. Okay. Especially because I like this shirt and I don't want to stain it. Okay, so it's the same kind, just bigger. And I want to be able to stir freely. So, okay. Oh yeah, so these are the measurements that I use. This is like the balance that I find works really well in my house. Generally speaking, I'm always going to encourage you to put as least sugar or sweetener as you can get away with. Just like so, okay, here we go. Oh, even my towel is green. Everything's green today. Okay, fine. So again, you know I don't like getting my things like dirty. I don't like doing more dishes than I have to. So I know that this is like 2 cups. So I'm just gonna like pour out like half of it and call it 1 cup. And you can do that too if you want. So that's about half. That's 1 cup of coconut oil. Next, we're doing half a cup of raw cacao powder. This is a 1/4 measuring thing, so I'm gonna do 2 of them. 1, 2. Okay. Now, this next part matters. Don't add in anything else until this is really stirred in properly. Because if not, what happens is, like if you add in the maple syrup right now, then the maple syrup mixes with the cacao, and then it resists connecting to the oil, which is a bummer because we really need the oil to make it chocolatey. Don't swap out a different oil. If you really don't like the taste of coconut, then you can use refined coconut oil instead of unrefined. Unrefined is a little healthier. It's significantly healthier. But it has a coconutty taste. And unrefined is still a healthy oil, and I still recommend it. I would still use it if I wanted it for something without having the coconutty taste. Okay, hold on. Can you guys see in there? See that it's all melted? Whatever, was melted the whole time, but it's all mixed together is the point. Okay, now I'm going to add in my maple. I don't recommend swapping out for like coconut sugar or honey even. I don't recommend. Oh, it was just pieces of the cacao, but it looked weird for a second. Because it doesn't like mix in properly. Like the honey just like sinks to the bottom. The truth is the maple itself also kind of sinks to the bottom. And so you really have to stir it, and then okay, look what we're doing. Okay, see, hey Alana. Okay, so it's all in the bowl. I also want to tell you guys, we'll definitely do more like desserty awesome stuff, but a lot of other people are saying like what happened to like all like the vegetable dishes, so we're gonna get back to that soon. But it's hard because I put the options and then you guys vote, and like I don't know, the sweet fun stuff always wins. But it's all important. Okay, so I'm mixing this all in. If you're thinking, man, I should only add vanilla to this. I thought of that, and here's my debacle. Sometimes when I add the vanilla, it just, I guess because of the alcohol in it, I don't really know why, it makes it just like kind of separate. Sometimes it's fine. So you can take that risk. For me, it doesn't make it taste that much better that I'm willing to take the risk and then have like a weird batch. But okay, so I'm stirring it like pretty consistently, and then when I'm scooping from the bottom. And then I'm just putting like a spoonful in here. Can you see that? I'm gonna scoop it over a little bit like that. And then every time that I take a spoonful, I'm stirring and scooping from the bottom, because otherwise, like if I would just like take from the top right here, usually the maple syrup is like kind of melted all the way to the bottom, and that's a bummer. You just need to keep stirring it, otherwise it kind of can separate. So just do what I'm saying. Boom. Now these ones are, like I said, I'm making the huge ones because I didn't have the little ones. So if I want, I could kind of do a double layer. Maybe I will. Should I? What do you guys say? I think I will. I'm going to do a double layer. We'll do 2 spoons in each one. So yeah, generally I do say that honey is a good sweetener. Like it's one that I keep in my house and I use. But just for this, I don't use it. I only use the maple because nothing else really mixes in well. People do use agave, but I actually don't. Oh, look, that's kind of a chunk right there. I actually don't recommend agave. Really? I thought agave is so good. Yes, people usually think it's very good because it has very good marketing behind it. But they're like, and then people say, but it's low glycemic. And yes, it is low glycemic. But the reason why it's low glycemic is because it's you digest it in your liver. Snap, which one am I up to? I think I'm doubles over here. Okay. You digest it with your liver the same way you do alcohol. And so now I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't have done doubles. That's okay. It'll be fine no matter what. Just like you guys know, kind of my stuff always comes out no matter what. Okay, so now, hold on. I'm going to put this in the freezer. And it's going to get hard. Fast. Ah! Okay, it didn't fall. I thought something was falling, but it didn't. Okay. When you put it in your freezer, try and get it flat so it doesn't spill. Hold on. I'm trying to do that myself here. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfectly flat. You just want it like at least like flat enough, right? That it's not spilling all over the place. Let's see if I can prop you guys up like this for a second. Okay, so I'll just tell you about the agave situation. And if you guys have any questions, well, we're gonna wait like a minute or two while it hardens. I will take whatever questions you have. But the agave situation essentially is that you digest it in your liver the same way that you digest, hey Esther, the same way that you digest alcohol. And so that's why it's low glycemic, because it's like kind of skipping your stomach and going right to your liver. But that is one of the reasons that I don't recommend it, is because it's very rough on your liver. And also it's extremely high in fructose. It has more fructose than high fructose corn syrup. So it's not my favorite. So it is not one that I recommend. Unless like you're allergic to maple, then maybe I would use it in this, but I would use it as a compromise, not like as something that I was excited about. Okay. What else? If you're allergic to coconut, I've had quite a few, I don't know, 4 or 5 people, that's not so many, but I know some of you are allergic to coconut. So even the refined coconut oil won't work for you, because it's not just the taste, it's actually an allergy. You could use, hey Esther, it's a different Esther this time. We have 2 Esthers on now. You could use organic palm oil, which I know people are like really afraid of palm oil, and they're like, oh my god, I thought palm oil was so bad. Yeah, it's not. It's not so bad. You can be mindful of like your source, because some palm oil does have like issues with the environment and deforestation. But it works well for this because it hardens, right? Right now this is wet. It's like all liquidy. And if you're like, hey, how come Shayna's is liquidy and mine's all hard? It's because Shayna's in LA and it's hot, and it's actually like hot in here, and I'm a little sweaty. If I come close, maybe you can see like the nasty sweat on my forehead. But I don't want to have the AC on because it's really loud. But I could stick my head in the freezer, I guess, right? And I will in a second to take them out. But you need a fat that's going to harden like that, right? And so someone asked me, can I use avocado oil in here? Because that's also tasteless. So avocado oil is a good fat, and I do use it, but you can't use it for this because it won't harden, right? And that's the same thing also. And actually, another flub up, another mistake that I did, right, is I'm using this peanut butter from Costco, and it's not the no stir kind. So it doesn't matter, it's fine. It just means that it's going to take longer to harden. Like if you use the no stir, it hardens faster because they add palm oil to it, right? Versus this one is just peanuts, and peanut oil is mostly polyunsaturated. Which means that essentially that it doesn't get hard at room temperature. It stays all liquidy. So what happens is even in the freezer, it will harden eventually, but it takes much, much, much longer. So like what's going to happen is I'm going to take them out of the freezer in 1 second. Then we're going to add like a glob of peanut butter and put more chocolate on top. And then we'll put them back in the freezer. And within like 10 minutes, all the chocolate will be hard and fused together. But if I take a bite, then like the peanut butter is gonna like dribble all over my face, which is fine and delicious, and believe me, we have done that plenty of times in my home. Not every time do we have patience, and definitely some of the times I don't have the no stir. But if you use the no stir peanut butter, which means they've added palm oil to it, it's not just the peanut oil, then it will harden quickly. Okay, what's one more thing I should tell you? One more interesting thing. If you guys have questions, you can ask. But I'll tell you one more thing of like, why are these so much better than the Reese's? Is because, well, I mean, I feel like there's 1,000 reasons. Number one, there's no chemicals in here, or preservatives, or things you can't pronounce. But the biggest reason, one of the big reasons that I do it, is this one is like very high in good fats and low in sugar, and so that is great for a lot of things. Number one, like you can't eat 1,000 of these, not because you have willpower, because I know you don't, and no one does. It's a myth. I mean, I guess to a degree, but not when it comes to food. If you have trouble like stopping eating, it's not because you have no willpower. It's because your body's really smart, and it's has a very strong communication of like when it wants something. And so if you have trouble stopping eating, it's a chemical thing going on. Like, for example, there's an actual hormone called leptin that makes you hungry. I mean, that makes you full. I'm sorry. Ghrelin makes you hungry. Leptin makes you full. If you haven't eaten foods that are able to create the hormone of leptin, you can't feel full. So if you're eating like a fat-free salad, like leptin is made primarily from good fats. That's why you feel satisfied afterwards, right? Like if you have an avocado, like it's really satisfying. But you could have like a whole huge salad with like maybe like no dressing, which would be gross, or like a fat-free dressing, which like may or may not be gross depending on what kind. And you're like stuffed because it was so big, but then you're still like feeling really hungry. It's because there was no leptin. You couldn't make any leptin from it. But the bottom line is that, and ghrelin is made primarily from sugar. Like that's why you could eat a ton and then have like a piece of cake, and then like even though you're stuffed, you're like, hey, can I have more of anything? because you got hungry again from the sugar. Anyways, this is not going to happen with these because there's less sugar and more fat. So these are really satisfying. I'm going to check them now. Let's see if they're done. Or done enough at least. Okay. They are. They're medium done. It's okay. I don't want you guys to have to wait longer. I'm going to take them out. I'll flip the camera around so you can see. If I was just making them by myself, I would leave them in for another few minutes, but I don't want you guys just like listening to me blabber on. Okay, so these ones didn't really melt properly because they were on an angle. So like I said, it doesn't have to be perfectly flat, just like flat-ish so that it's not spilling. But see, these ones are hard, at least the top layer is. So now I'm going to flip it around again, prop you guys in your spot. And now we're going to put a glob of peanut butter. There we go. Whoop. Ready? Here we go. Glob 1. Gonna land. Woohoo! Maybe I'll use another spoon to make it go easier and faster than just letting it drip. Boom. Boom. See, this one's so liquidy. The no-stir ones are not quite as liquidy. But from a nutritional perspective, they're both good, so that's why I'm willing to compromise. Low battery, my phone says. That's okay. I think we'll last. 20% will last till the end of this. Okay, next, we're putting the next glob. You know what? You can even just go like that instead of like doing it carefully. And you can, again, what I would recommend is trying these. Try it. Try the liquid chocolate as you go. See if you feel like you need more sweetener or not. There we go. Boom. And these are huge. Like, probably I won't be able to eat a whole one because they're huge. But my husband will because he loves these, as you guys know. Okay, here we go. Next glob. Boom. And the last big old glob of peanut butter. Here we go. Right on top. A little more in that one. Great. Okay. Sometimes my husband's like, oh, you should put more peanut butter. And then I'm like, make it yourself next time. Just kidding. I mean, no, I would say that, but not in an obnoxious way. I would just be like, okay, there you go. But no, I take constructive criticism on. I'm happy to make this for him. He's awesome. He makes lots of stuff for me. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to make it that you can see. So remember now, again, before I put the next layer on, we got to stir. Every time we do it, we got to stir the chocolate so that the maple doesn't just like go to the bottom. We got to stir, 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 and then scoop from the bottom, and we're just putting another layer on top. Boom. I want to make sure I have enough, so I'm going to go through all of them, and then the extras I'll put on top again. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Whee! Here we go. And here we go. Okay, good. I have a little extra. So see some of them. Can you see that? Should I flip the camera around? I'm going to so you can see. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. Did it work? Peanut buttery. Okay, here it goes. Okay, so see my dirty counter, my dirty food. It's not really dirty. It's just messy. It's not dirty. Okay, so I'm just going to stir before I do another scoop. Hey, Lala! And I'm just going to add a little more to this one to get the top covered. But honestly, it so doesn't matter. Like, it tastes so good no matter what. You can't really botch it up. The only thing is you just have to have realistic expectations. They don't taste exactly like Reese's, you know what I'm saying? Because there's like probably a quarter of the sugar, if not less. But when you make it for yourself and your family, you can add more sugar if you need to. And by sugar, I mean... Okay, so that's that. I'm going to put it back in the freezer now and go pick up my my super cool 8-year-old from camp, who I adore. He's in a science camp. It's really cool. They built a robotic Mars rover that's it's like a miniature, obviously. Not really on Mars, but it's solar powered. I want to go to this camp. I think it's really cool. Anyway, so this is going in the freezer, and when I come back, I'll be back in like 45 minutes. They'll be ready. The chocolate will be hard, but the peanut butter won't be, like I told you guys before. So, snap, I forgot to give you guys the intro because we have a lot of new people. So I'll just give it on the outro. So I hope this is really helpful. For any of you who don't know who I am, I'm Shayna Cameron, and I'm a strategic nutritionist. This is my awesome group filled with people that I really like. And I teach my clients, and obviously to a degree people in here also, how to use really simple and delicious foods as very effective medicine. A lot of times people think that if you're using food as medicine, it's going to be like nasty, like green juices and like cardboard tasting things, and it's totally not. Everything we use is really healthy and delicious, and we are really able to do fantastic work. I've helped people heal their all kinds of hormonal disorders, whether that's like crazy PMS or even infertility or digestive issues like IBS or just like chronic heartburn, psoriasis, skin issues, acne, whether it's adult or like adolescent, I guess is the word you would say. Of course, weight loss and basically any health thing that you're struggling with, especially like energy issues. The paradigm that I come from is that our bodies work really well when we take care of them. And so it's just a matter of learning what your body needs and figuring out a strategic way to implement that into your life simply. So, like said, this is a strategic, simple way to do it. So I love you all. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me below in the group. And if you have any questions that you're maybe not super comfortable asking to a group of 2,500 people, you are welcome to email me or private message me, and I would be happy to help you. Okay? Sending you lots of love. Have an awesome weekend.